Hello, it's Phil here for digitaldjtips.com, taking a look at the Pioneer DDJ-T1 Traktor DJ controller. Now this unit was released earlier this year, but it's recently had a price drop and it now ships with a pretty good light version of Traktor Pro 2. So it's better value and more attractive than it's ever been, so we thought it was time to have a little look at the unit. There's a full version of this review over at digitaldjtips.com/DDJ-T1, so you can read the full text there. But I thought I'd give you a quick introduction and then we'll look at just a few of the features on video as well. So this is a big controller, as you can see, which has the advantage of being great to use. Your body's open when you're using it rather than fiddling around as you can with some smaller DJ controllers. You feel kind of like you've got the DJ profile. Of course, the downside of that is setting this up is a pain in many DJ boxes. And because of that, you're more likely to use this at home or in somewhere where they haven't actually got equipment and you turn up and plonk it down. Having said that, there is no emergency through, which means you can't plug, say, an iPod into it in order to keep the music playing if your computer crashes, which is something you would expect to see on something that will allow you to perform in public. And for that reason, I think this is really aimed at hobbyists, serious hobbyists and home DJs and bar DJs who are playing in smaller venues and stuff where, you know, a quick reboot isn't the end of the world. There's no booth output as well, which is the output that you'd find on more expensive or more professional performance-based equipment, which allows you to plug in a small speaker near to where you're DJing as well as sending the sound out to a bigger sound system in order for you to have a proper monitor. So again, that's something that would say that this is aimed by Pioneer more at the hobbyist and home user. Having said that, what a great unit, size-wise and feel-wise for the intended audience. It's certainly got that wow factor. And as we're going to see as we move on, it's got some features which are really a lot of fun for the digital DJ. So, because it's from Pioneer, and Pioneer are the masters of the DJ booth, you will find Pioneer CDJs and Pioneer mixers in most DJ booths worldwide. Certainly in most of the DJ booths I've ever played in Europe and seen in America, that's certainly the case. Because of that, this has got real Pioneer look and feel to it. This is a Pioneer mixer. This could be a DJM 400 mixer, no problem at all. These could be Pioneer CDJ 350s, no problem at all. It looks like those units just squashed together. So it feels like semi-pro Pioneer gear. Of course, in a DJ booth, you'll probably find a bigger Pioneer mixer and also better Pioneer CD players, but the point's there. This is the kind of unit that someone who's used to using Pioneer gear would be very much at home using. Or conversely, if you're a DJ who wants to learn on something which is made by the same people and has some of the same features as the stuff you will later find in clubs, and you think that in the future you're going to be happy using CDJs in clubs, whether you're using them with USB sticks just plugged into the back of the more modern ones and DJing kind of pseudo digitally that way, or whether you're just planning on turning up with CDs. You know, if you're either of that kind of DJ, then there's going to be an attraction to this that its main competitors, and I'm thinking of the Traktor Control S4 and the Newmark NS6, can't offer. All three of them great DJ controllers, but Pioneer is playing on its DJ booth dominance here with a controller that very much represents the kind of stuff you will find in DJ booths. Okay, so after that little introduction, let's take a look at some of the features. Now, it's pretty hard to explain jogwheel performance. It's much easier to show it, so I'm going to show you some jogwheel action on the Pioneer and we'll see how good these jogs really are. So you can see that the jogwheel has got a light going around it, which is going to help in this demo really. First thing I'd like to show you is the fact that it's just normal. You can nudge it at the edge and at the top you can scratch. But listen to that scratching. Now that sounds pretty good, but then most controllers sound good when you do that. But you watch it when I spin it. And to accentuate that, I'll pause it first. Now watch when I spin. Notice two things. Firstly, when I take my hand off, there's some inertia there. So that's very familiar to users of CDJs and vinyl. They'll be at home with that kind of feeling. And the second thing is the fact that the music is tied perfectly to what the jog wheel does. The second that jog wheel stops moving, the music stops playing. And watch the jog carefully. You hear? No other Traktor controller can do that apart from the Traktor Control S4 from Native Instruments themselves, and presumably the forthcoming S2 as well. But they don't have the inertia that this controller has, and so they don't feel as close to vinyl, even though they're as closely mapped. The Traktor DDJ-T1, this controller is the best controller for jog wheels I've ever seen for Traktor. So great, big tick there. Let's look at fader start now. Fader start's great. Watch this. Great, eh? Let's start again. Right, there you go. So fader start will allow you to start a track just by using the fader and not touching the Q button, as long as you have it set right in the first place. So why is that useful? Well, mobile DJs like that kind of thing because mobile DJs don't really mix. And a lot of mobile DJs are happy to have fader start, and they're used to it. They're used to seeing it on their controllers. But there's more than that you can do with it. For instance, if I have something ready on the other deck, on deck C, this side of the controller has got deck A and C. In order to trigger it while I'm using deck A, I need to switch it by switching to deck C here and then maybe pressing Q. But if I set up something on fader start, these are the fader start buttons at the bottom here, by the way, they turn it on and off. It will start something at a preset Q point in order for me to be able to trigger it using the fader and not having to switch decks. So I've got an acapella on there now.
I put a seashell right here and it all comes back. I put a seashell right here and it all comes back.
And you can see that that's there always for me without having to switch decks and without having to relinquish control from my main two decks.
I put a seashell right here and it all comes back.
I've got one on deck 4 as well.
I have a dream.
So you can see that that's a creative use of fader starts. I like fader start, I think it's a good thing to have. I'd like to show you the filters. You can hear that the filters are not only sounding good but also quite extreme. You don't have to turn that knob very far for them to really kick in. They are typically good, as Traktor effects are. And because you get a knob for each side, you can get quite creative on riding your filters. The final differentiating factor of this controller I'd like to show you is needle search. A needle search is the strip here, and there's one on each deck. What needle search does for you is let you jump as if you were moving a needle through a record using your finger. So I can move around the record like this. In order to find very quickly where I want to jump to without having to, you know, speed through it using the jogs, or more likely using the mouse and keyboard. So there's just a few of the features that I wanted to point out. Remember, the full review is at digitaldjtips.com/DDJ-T1.